There is a specific kind of heartbreak that's pretty much reserved for California homeowners.
Oh, I know this one.
Right. You spend all year fighting the heat. You're managing your water bill. You're trying to get a lawn that actually looks green.
Mm-hmm.
Then you step out onto your patio, coffee in hand, ready to enjoy this little slice of paradise you've made. And then you see it.
The disaster.
It looks like a tiny earthquake happened overnight. The ground's all pushed up. There are these weird raised ridges going everywhere. And the little piles of dirt, perfect little mountains just ruining the whole vibe. I'm Mark Buzz, and if you've ever wanted to just launch your coffee mug at a pile of dirt, this deep dive is for you.
And that scene is playing out right now, from Placer County all the way down to San Diego. And the first reaction is always anger, right? Followed by a trip to the store for completely the wrong kind of trap.
Right.
Today, we're going a different route. I, Anna Bugs, and we're looking at this as less of a pest problem and more of a bioengineering crisis happening about 3 inches below your feet.
We are breaking down a really comprehensive guide from Simple Pest Management. And what got me right away about their research is that it just flips the script. We think of these things as, mindless vermin. But what you're actually dealing with is a highly sophisticated, high-performance tunneling machine.
A machine that might be in your yard specifically because you're a good gardener.
That's the part that hurts. We'll get to that. But first, we have to clear up the identity crisis.
Yes.
This is where most of us just fail immediately. You see a mound, you yell gopher, and you declare war.
But the source material is so clear on this, it's a critical distinction. If you're fighting a mole with gopher tactics, you're basically trying to catch a shark with a mousetrap.
They're in completely different lanes.
Totally different. It all comes down to diet, which changes absolutely everything. Gophers are the vegetarians. The rodents, they've got the big teeth, the cheek pouches.
They're there for the plants, the roots, the bulbs.
Exactly. If your prize rose bush suddenly gets sucked into the ground like a cartoon ghost pulled it down, that's a gopher.
Because it's literally pulling it down to eat it. Moles, on the other hand, they're insectivores.
They're not interested in your salad bar. They want protein. They are hunting.
Earthworms, grubs.
Beetle larvae, yeah.
Yeah.
And because they're hunters, they move differently. A gopher just kind of gnaws its way to a root. A mole is a predator on the move. It has to patrol a huge territory to find enough food to survive.
Which brings us to their anatomy. I was blown away by the description of how they're built. They're not just digging like a dog digs. They're built more like swimmers.
It's a completely unique bone structure. Their collarbones, their clavicles, they're rotated. This lets their front legs move out to the sides, not just back and forth underneath them.
So they're doing a breaststroke.
A breaststroke through the soil, yeah.
And that explains the paddle-shaped feet. They're basically oars.
Huge shovel-like oars with these heavy claws. And because of that swimming motion, they can move a crazy amount of soil for their size. We're talking about a creature that's maybe 5-7 inches long. 3 to 5 ounces.
But the output it's terrifying.
Yeah.
This source has a stat that I had to read twice. A single mole can dig 18 feet of new tunnel in 1 hour.
18 feet. Think about that. If a human had to move a similar amount of earth relative to our size, we'd be moving tons of dirt in an afternoon. It's a massive calorie burn.
Which goes right back to the diet.
Yeah.
If you're burning that much fuel swimming through dirt, you must be starving all the time.
They have a hypercharged metabolism. A mole can eat 60 to 100% of its body weight in food every single day.
Wow.
If they don't eat for just a few hours, they can actually starve to death. So that frantic tunneling, it's not just them being annoying. It's a desperate hunt for calories.
Okay, so when I wake up and see my lawn is ruined, I'm basically looking at the aftermath of a feeding frenzy. But we have to help people distinguish the crime scene. If I don't see the animal, and let's be honest, you rarely do, how do I know if it's the gopher or the mole?
It's all in the geometry of the dirt pile, how they get rid of the waste soil.
Okay, start with the mole.
So moles dig these deep vertical shafts up from their main tunnels. When they push the dirt out, it comes straight up, like a volcano.
Oh.
So you get a symmetrical cone-shaped mound. And this is the key. You almost never see the hole.
Because the dirt just falls back in and covers it up.
Correct. It looks like a pile of loose soil that was just dropped from the sky. Now, compare that to a gopher. Gophers dig up at an angle.
Yeah.
They push the dirt out and to the side.
So it fans out. It's not a perfect cone.
It creates a crescent.
Or
a horseshoe shape.
Yeah.
And you can usually see where they plug the hole with a little cork of fresh dirt on the side.
So volcano equals mole. Crescent with a plug equals gopher.
That's the visual you need.
Got it. Okay, let's talk timing. The source points out that here in California, we see this huge spike in activity around February, March. Why is there a mole season?
It's where hydrology meets biology. First, you've got the rain factor.
Of course. California soil in August is basically concrete. You'd need a jackhammer.
Exactly. Digging through dry, compacted clay. That costs way too much energy. Calories a mole can't afford to waste. But when the winter rains come, the soil gets soft. It yields
So the energy cost of digging just plummets.
drastically. It's suddenly efficient to build new tunnels. But the rain does something else too. It soaks the deep soil, which pushes out the oxygen. This forces the earthworms and grubs the prey to move up,
Up toward the surface.
right to the surface to breathe. The prey moves into the penthouse, so the predator follows.
And that's why you see those raised surface ridges, those little snake-like tunnels right under the grass.
That's them hunting, just inches below the turf, because that's where the food is.
But it's not just hunger, is it? There's another biological drive happening right now.
No, it's romance, the mole version of it anyway. Late winter is breeding season. The males are just driven by testosterone to find a mate.
Mm-hmm.
So they abandon their usual caution and they start digging these long, straight highway tunnels to cross different territories and find females.
So the destruction I'm seeing is basically a guy driving a monster truck through my living room to get a date.
Pretty much. And the females are nesting. They're digging out deep chambers for their litters, usually 3 to 5 pups. So you have a population boom on the way, easy digging, and active mating. It's the perfect storm.
And this leads us to the part that really, really hurts. The cruel irony the source talks about.
What?
We hinted at this, but it seems like the people who care the most about their lawns, they're the ones getting hit the hardest.
It is completely counterintuitive. You think, my lawn is lush, I water it perfectly, I use good fertilizer, I should be safe. But what you've actually done is create a 5-star resort for mold.
Because I'm farming worms.
You're farming worms. Rich, moist soil with lots of organic matter is the perfect earthworm habitat. If you have the greenest lawn on the block, you have the densest buffet. A mole isn't going to waste its time in your neighbor's dry, patchy lawn. It's coming to your place.
That is just painful. I'm being punished for being a good gardener.
Yeah.
But let's play devil's advocate for a second. Okay, the mounds are ugly. But is this really a big deal? They eat pests, they aerate the soil. Why not just let them be?
That's a fair question. And in the wild, moles are beneficial. But in a residential yard, the collateral damage is structural.
Okay, so start with the grass itself. You said they don't eat the roots. So why does my lawn turn yellow and die where they've been?
It's called root desiccation. When a mole digs its tunnel right under the sod, it creates an air pocket. It physically separates the grass roots from the moist soil.
Oh, so they lose their water source.
They're just dangling in the air and they dry out fast. The grass just dies in these snake-like patterns that follow the exact path of the tunnel. So you're not losing the grass to being eaten, you're losing it to dehydration.
And then there's the subway system effect. This one really got me.
It should. Moles are engineers. They build these durable, permanent runways deeper down. And when a mole moves on, the tunnel stays.
So it's an empty highway.
An empty highway for other pests. Voles, mice, even snakes will use those tunnels to travel safely across your yard, completely protected from predators above.
So the mole builds the subway, and the rats use it to get to my vegetable garden.
Exactly. Voles, which do eat roots, will use mole tunnels to get to your flower bulbs and tree roots they couldn't have reached otherwise. You're basically creating infrastructure for a whole new ecosystem of pests.
And that's not even mentioning the risk to people. The source talks about spongy lawns.
And it's a real liability. I've walked on lawns with heavy mole activity. The ground looks solid, but then you step and your foot just sinks 4 inches. For a kid running around, or an older person, that's a twisted ankle waiting to happen.
And in California, with their irrigation lines running everywhere.
That's the silent killer for your wallet. Those claws are sharp. They can puncture drip lines, or just move the soil around enough to snap a PVC pipe. And you might not know it until you get a massive water bill or a sinkhole opens up.
Okay, the damage is real. The cost is real. We have to fight back. The source lays out a few strategies, but let's get into how they actually work. Start with the food. Can we just starve them out?
This is the most common advice, but there's a catch. You can treat your lawn for grubs and beetle larvae. And yeah, if you reduce the grub population, you make your lawn less appealing.
But grubs aren't the only thing on the menu.
No, their favorite food is the earthworm. And you really, really do not want to get rid of all the earthworms in your soil. They're critical for soil health. So killing grubs helps, but it's not a silver bullet.
So we can't fully starve them? What about changing the environment, the rain factor? We can't stop the rain, but we can control our sprinklers.
This is a really powerful tool. A lot of us water a little bit every day, right, to keep the grass green, but that keeps the top few inches of soil constantly soft and moist.
The perfect zone for tunneling.
Exactly. The better strategy is to water deeply, but less often, soak the lawn, and then let that top layer dry out and get hard before you water again.
So you're creating a hard crust on top.
You're creating a crust, you're making it more work for them to dig there. It's more expensive energetically. They'll either stay deeper, where they do less damage, or they'll just move over to your neighbor's easy-to-dig lawn.
Now, what if I want to get physical? The source mentions barriers, like hardware cloth. But this isn't just throwing down some chicken wire, is it?
No, and the details here are really important. Chicken wire has holes that are too big. A mole can squeeze right through. You need quarter-inch hardware cloth. And you can't just bury it straight down.
Wow.
Because they'll just dig down and go right under it. The key is to bury it at least 2 feet deep and then bend the bottom 6 inches outward at a 90-degree angle.
An L shape, pointing away from the area you're protecting.
Right. So when the mole digs down, hits the wire, follows it to the bottom, it hits that little shelf and can't figure out how to get around it. It's a physical dead end.
That sounds incredibly effective, but also incredibly labor-intensive.
It is an immense amount of work. It's great if you want to protect one specific rose bed or a small vegetable garden. But trenching your entire property line like that, it's probably not realistic for most people.
Okay, what about repellents? The source brings up castor oil. How does that even work? Is it just a bad smell?
It's a bit more biological. The castor oil repellent soaks into the soil and it coats the earthworms and the grubs. When the mole eats them, the oil causes, let's just say, significant digestive distress.
We're giving the mole an upset stomach.
You're basically conditioning them. They learn that the food in this area makes them sick, so they avoid it. It's aversion therapy. But it only works if you're consistent. You have to keep reapplying it.
So we've got grub control, changing your watering, physical barriers for small areas, and digestive repellents. But there's a tipping point. The source is pretty clear that sometimes you're just outmatched.
The biology is just relentless. If you have a breeding pair, or if your yard is next to a big open field that acts as a pest reservoir, DIY methods can fail. The tipping point is when you see the damage expanding rapidly, even when you're trying to treat it.
When it's outpacing your ability to fix it.
Or when you see new damage in multiple unconnected areas at the same time. That means you've got more than one mole. At that point, the cost of all the traps and repellents in your own time, it starts to add up.
And let's talk about the professional advantage. It's not just that they have better equipment, it's that they know where to put it.
Trapping a mole is an art form. You have to find the active tunnel, not an old abandoned one. You have to place the trap without leaving your human scent all over it. Professionals, like the team at Simple Pest Management, they just have the experience to read the soil.
And they offer a guarantee. That was the big one for me. If I spend my whole Saturday setting traps and catch nothing, I just wasted a Saturday. If I hire them and the moles come back, they come back to fix it.
It takes the burden of success off your shoulders. And for a lot of people, just getting their weekend back is worth the investment.
Speaking of the team at Simple Pest Management, we have to mention the most important staff member listed in this article.
Oh, the chief bedbug officer.
Theodore Augustus Palchi.
Yeah.
Or Teddy.
A mini Bernedoodle.
Now, to be clear, Teddy is training for bedbug detection, not moles. But I love that they included this. It says something about the pest control industry that I think we forget. It's a century business.
It really is. Whether it's a dog's nose sniffing out bed bugs or a technician's eyes reading the moisture in the soil to predict mole behavior, it takes forensic attention to detail. It's not just about spraying stuff. It's about understanding the whole environment.
So let's wrap this with a quick battle plan. For the listener who's looking at their destroyed lawn right now, what are the 3 steps?
Step 1. Identification. Do not guess. Look at the mound. Volcano is a mole. Crescent is a gopher. You have to know your enemy.
Step 2.
Step 2. Audit your watering. If your lawn is squishy, let it dry out between waterings, make them work harder.
And step 3.
Step 3. Act immediately. Remember that number. 18 feet of tunnel per hour. Time is your lawn's biggest enemy. If you can't get to it this weekend, call a pro. Don't wait.
Because by next week is 50 more feet of tunnels.
Exactly.
Well, I definitely feel better equipped to handle the underground invaders. If you found this deep dive helpful, or maybe just terrifyingly informative, please do us a huge favor and follow and like the show. It really helps us keep digging into these topics.
And if you're in California and you're ready to just hang up the shovel and call in the cavalry, you can follow Simple Pest Management on social media to see what they're up to.
Or just visit them online at www.simplepest.com. Maybe you'll even see Teddy the Bernedoodle on their Instagram feed.
We can only hope.
I want to leave you with one final thought. We spend so much time obsessed with our curb appeal, right? That surface layer that the neighbors see. But this whole thing is a reminder that the ground under our feet isn't just dirt. It's a living, breathing, eating, fighting ecosystem. We're just the landlords living on the roof.
We might own the deed, but the moles definitely own the soil.
Thanks for listening, everyone.
See you in the next deep dive.